What's up, you guys? Aditi. Welcome back to our channel. Today we will talk about attachment theory. So let's begin. Attachment theory originates with the work of John Bowlby. Now, in the 1930s, John Bowlby worked as a psychiatrist in child guidance clinic in England, or in London actually, and he treated many emotionally disturbed children, and this actually led him to come up with this attachment theory. Now let's understand what attachment actually means. Attachment means this emotional bond that one person has with another, and Bowlby believed that the first emotional bond that a child has with its primary caregiver, which is generally the mother, and this emotional bond has a tremendous impact on the life of the child even when the child has grown up and is an adult. Bowlby also believed that attachment can be understood from an evolutionary perspective, like back in the day, like our ancestors, when we used to live in caves or in huts and there were so many animals around, the child needed the safety and security which it would get from its primary caregiver, and that's where this actually comes from. This is where this emotional attachment stems from. Behaviorists believe that this emotional attachment comes from wanting food or needing food, but Bowlby and his followers actually they demonstrated that the nurturance and the responsiveness is what actually causes this attachment to be so important. And there has been an experiment on this where it shows you like food is more important to the child or the comfort and security it feels. I will make a video on that as well. If you know which experiment I'm talking about, then I would love to know in the comment section, so leave it there. But I will make a video on this psychological experiment in the near future, so just stay tuned for that. So the central theme of attachment is that primary caregivers who are available and responsive to an infant's needs allows the child to develop a sense of security. The child knows who it can depend upon, and this creates a base for the child when they are kids, and as they grow up they can go and explore the world. Now in 1970s, a psychologist called Mary Ainsworth, she expanded on Bowlby's ideas, and she started a procedure or a study called as the strange situation test. And it's a really interesting process where you can see and understand the relationship between an infant and a primary caregiver. And she kind of bifurcated these four relationships that an infant can have with their mother. Sometimes I may say mother, but actually I mean primary caregiver, and generally in our society mother is considered as a primary caregiver. So this video is kind of broken into three parts. So first is I will describe this strange situation test. Second is we'll try to understand these relationships, these four relationships between the infant and the primary caregiver. And the third is that we'll see how these relationships or the dynamics of these relationships and the way they affect us into adulthood as well. This test or study is done in a developmental psychology laboratory. Now, if you already know descriptive methods and the four descriptive methods, you would know everything about laboratory observation. If you don't, then you can watch this video to know more. I'll leave the link in the description box. So, the best advantage you have when it comes to laboratory observation is the immense control you get. And when it comes to immense control, researchers can transform the laboratory or the room in any way, any shape or form. So when it comes to this test, the researchers had transformed this room into a very cozy, homey room, which had a table, 4 chairs, lots and lots of toys and a magazine. And there is this one-way mirror or a one-way glass for the researchers to watch and observe what is going on in the room. So the way this test works is that a child who is around 12 to 18 months and a parent enter the room. When they enter, the child is left alone room, to explore the room, to do whatever it wants, whereas the parent is supposed to sit and chill, maybe read magazines, do whatever they want, but the parent is not allowed to guide the child in exploration. So the parent has been instructed to just sit and chill and not get involved in what the child is doing. So the first thing researchers are interested in knowing is, what does the child do, when it enters the room? Does the child go freely exploring the room, plays with toys, or they are anxious and it's a new place, right? So do they stick to the parent and not actually explore the room at all? Now, after a while, a stranger enters the room. The stranger talks to the parent for a little while and then approaches the child and tries to interact with the child. So the stranger, the stranger may try to play with the child, play a game or the toy that the child is playing with, something like that. And this is the time when the researchers want to know the second thing, which is, how does the child react to this stranger? Is the child afraid? Is the child going to play with and interact with the stranger, or does the child run to the parent for comfort and security? Then the parent leaves the room, leaving the child alone with the stranger, and generally the child is going to be really upset and going to start crying because the parent left, and it's really heartbreaking to see it. If you watch these videos, I'll try to leave the links of these videos in the description box, but if you have seen these videos, you know that they're really heartbreaking to see the child actually cry when the parent leaves the room. And the stranger tries to comfort the child, and the researchers want to know the third thing, if the child does get comforted by the stranger or not. And the fourth thing is that after a short while, the parent returns, and this is called as a reunion. When the parent leaves and returns and meets with the child again, is called the reunion. And that's a very crucial thing, and the researchers want to know, how does the child react to the returning of the parent? Is the child happy and relieved that their parent is back, or is the child cranky and upset and pissed that, how dare you leave me alone with the stranger? So that is the fourth or last thing that the researchers are interested to know. So the researchers are observing through this one-way mirror, and they will classify the child's behavior, the child's reactions in these four relationships or these four attachment theories. And now let's see the classification of these attachments. The first thing that researchers noticed about secure attached children is that they are able to actually separate themselves from the parents. So when they first enter the room, the child will not stick to the parent, the child will go and explore, but it will keep this one eye on the parent just to see what the parent is doing and where the parent is the parent there or not. But they will go and explore the room, have their own adventure. But when something frightening happens, if they're scared or something happens, like say the stranger entering the room or the stranger trying to interact with the child, that's when they run to the parent to feel safe, to feel comforted, for some kind of security. And this is a really good thing, because it shows that they look for their parent, they trust their parent, they believe their parent, they rely on their parent for comfort and security. So it's a very good thing that whenever they are frightened, they actually go to the parent for security and comfort. Now, when the parent leaves, that is the time when every child would be upset and cry and will not be comforted by anybody else. But when the parent returns, right, the secured attachment children are so happy, they are relieved, they are so happy to see their parent back, come back. And this is a very positive emotion, right? Being happy, being relieved, being ready to be comforted by their parent, it's like the positive emotion. And this shows that the child clearly has a preference for the parent over the stranger. So when you see all these signs, it shows that the parent and the child have a secure attachment relationship or a secure attachment style. Okay, and this is like the best attachment style, like I've already mentioned. Now when we look at these children growing up, we see that they enter into trusting, lasting relationships. They tend to have higher self-esteem. They tend to be more comfortable sharing their feelings with friends and partners, and they also seek out social interactions. And to an extent, these children are socially competent, and they seem more confident than the other three attachment styles. Now let's look at the second one, which is one of the three not so good attachment styles. Okay, the second one is the avoidant attachment. Now, the child does not seem overly drawn to the parent at all from the very beginning. So when the parent and the child enter the room, the child is exploring the room. They're not even looking at their parent. They don't actually care if the parent is there, kind of. So the difference between secure attachment and avoidant attachment in this point is that both actually explore, but the difference is that in avoidant attachment, the child is exploring in a very independent way. It's exploring in a very independent way. And in secure attachment, if they feel frightened, they would like run to the parent for comfort and security, whereas in this one, they don't really actually care if the parent is there, and if they're frightened, if they're scared, like when the stranger enters the room or when they start interacting with the child, you can clearly see that the child is in distress, but it still doesn't approach the parent to feel comforted and secure. So you can say that in general, they don't seem to be any more attached to their parent than they are to the stranger. So you kind of get the sense that there is this coldness, like this cold relationship between the child and the parent. And when we see these children grow up, they have problems with intimacy. They don't give much of themselves emotionally in romantic relationships. These are the kinds of people who would say things like, I'm too afraid to get hurt, or I don't want to invest too much in a relationship because if it doesn't work, then I will be heartbroken by it. They're also unable or unwilling to share thoughts or feelings with others. So these children are, you can say that they're not doing so well socially. So if you want to put a positive spin to it, you can say that they are super duper independent. They're independent to a fault. Third one is ambivalent attachment. Now this one gives me a feeling like it is in the dead center between secure attachment and avoidant attachment. They probably are wary of strangers. So in this way, they kind of show preference to their parent over a stranger, like the secure attachment, and they do get distressed and upset when the parent leaves. But when the parent returns, like at the reunion, they are not comforted by the return of the parent. So let's look at the reunion. Like I said in the beginning, the reunion is really crucial. So in the secure attachment, when the parent returns at the reunion, the child seems to be, oh my god, I'm so glad you're back. But the ambivalent attached children would be resentful, and they would be pissed at their parent, and they would look at them like, oh, I cannot trust you again. How could you do this to me? So it's like they're happy that the parent is back because they're kind of like secure attachment, but they're not happy like the secure attachment children. They are resentful, and they would be pissed and not be comforted by the parent like the avoidant attachment children. Now these ambivalent attachment children, when they become adults, they are reluctant to become close to others. They are always worried that their partner does not love them, and they become very upset when their relationship ends. The fourth and the last attachment style was introduced in 1986 by researchers Main and Solomon. Now this attachment children are they behave very bizarrely. They are confused, apprehensive, dazed. You kind of get the feeling that they don't know how they feel, they don't know what to do, they don't know what's going on, they don't know how to react, and hence they are so confused that their reactions are all over the place. And so these children fear close proximity to parents. They show mixture of avoidant and resistant or aggressive behaviors in proximity to parent. They do not feel secure and safe in relationships. They are unable to self-regulate their emotions. And as adults, these kids grow to fear close proximity or intimacy in relationships. They also fear being vulnerable. They can be extremely enraged in response to confrontation or threat. They express little to no empathy with others, and they also don't really understand personal boundaries. Let's go a little back to how they were as kids. Then I already spoke about how they were at age 1. They showed mixture of avoidant and resistant behaviors, and they seemed dazed and apprehensive and confused. But as they got older, by age 6, they they may take on a parental role and may actually act as a caregiver towards their parent. So what this really suggests is that the child grows to behave a certain way because of the behavior of the mother and the signs and signals the mother sends to the child. Now I'm going to say mother here because in our society we believe that the primary caregiver is the mother. Like the child learns its culture, manners, etiquettes, whatever, kaise rehna chahiye, kaise baat karni chahiye, वगैरह वगैरह from the mother. So I'm just going to say mother here. And in this category, the mother tends to be anxious, she tends to be worried, like she is not ready to take on the responsibility of being a mother. She is scared of being a mother, and this anxiousness, the anxiety, neurosis kind of sneaks into the child, and the child starts getting depressed and confused, non-responsive and apprehensive even, and is so confused and dazed because the child doesn't know if their needs are going to be met. They don't know what is going on, what is happening, what to do, how to react, and they don't know if their needs are going to be met and who is going to meet their needs. And hence it seems like as soon as they turn age 6 or 7, like age 6 is the earliest, they take on the parental role because somebody has to take care of their needs, and if no adult is, then they have to do all by themselves, right? Now if you look at the secure attachment mothers, we see that the secure attachment mother is always there. Whenever the baby needs her, the mother intervenes quickly, sensitively and consistently, because the baby believes and trusts that okay, my needs are going to be met. Now in avoidant attachment children, as I've already mentioned, that there is this coldness or this cold relationship going on between the parent and the child, and this is because the parent is distracted, they are disengaged, they are kind of busy, because it may be that the parent may be in their prime time in their lives, like their life is still going on. Maybe they are searching for a spouse for themselves, or maybe they have a very social life and they cannot devote their life to their children, and due to which avoidant attachment children tend to believe that their needs are not going to be met, because every time they want something, they need something, they always believe that oh, mom and dad are busy and I have to take care of myself. There is nobody I can rely upon, there's nobody I can count on, and there's only me and just me who has to take care of myself. There's nobody else who will take care of me. So, and this is the reason why they turn out to be super duper independent, like I said, because they learn at a very young age that nobody is taking care of them, nobody is meeting their needs, so it's them and only them, and they have to do all the work for themselves. Finally, with the ambivalent attachment children, they are, like I said, kind of in between the secure attachment and avoidant attachment. It's because the parent of ambivalent attachment children are inconsistent. So sometimes, like the secure attachment, they are there for their child and their needs get met. But then sometimes they are like the avoidant attachment children's parents. They are busy, they are distracted, they're having their own life, and due to which they are very inconsistent, and hence the child ends up in the middle, where they feel like they cannot rely that their needs will be met every time, and that makes them anxious, insecure and angry. To help you understand this needs wala part, I have made this chart for you. So for secure attachment, you can say that they feel that they can rely on others to meet their needs. Whereas with avoidant attachment, they feel that they cannot rely on others to meet their needs. With anxious or ambivalent attachment, they say that they can't predict whether others will meet their needs. And with disorganized attachment, they believe that those who meet my needs are also likely to hurt me. Also, I just want to tell you that if you actually go on the internet, you can find tests which can tell you which attachment style you are. But also remember that nobody is just one attachment style. You are going to be like 40% ye, but 30% this one, 20% that one. So you're going to be like a mixture of 2 to 3, okay? But you will never be just one attachment style. So that's it for today's video. I hope this was good and you learned something from this. But before we leave, I want to ask you one question to you. Like, we have studied the different schools of thought in psychology, and I want to ask you this one question. Like, this study, this test, strange situation test, what do you think, like, or this attachment theory, okay, this attachment theory where or in which school of thought in psychology does this be a part of? Is it evolutionary? Is it behaviorism? Is it psychoanalysis? Is it developmental, cognitive? Where, Gestalt, where does this one apply, or where does this one lie? Okay, so leave the answer to this question in the comment section. I would really love to know. If you haven't seen that video, I've already made a video on school of thought or introduction to psychology, as I've titled it, I don't know why. So if you haven't seen that video, you can go and check that video first. I will leave the link of it in the description box. I'll also leave a few other links in the description box which you can watch, which will be helpful for you to revise or even understand some concepts which will be difficult for you. So go check those out. Other than that, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, comment down below what other videos you want me to do, and subscribe to this channel, join the community, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. I'll see you next Friday with another psychology video. They are been instructed to this the parent is inconsistent.